Fellas, what is going on? I'm back, and I want to talk about something, another controversial topic. You know, one of the reasons that this podcast even exists is to cover these things, cover this shit, and try to come at these, topics or discussions from angles you're never going to see anywhere else. Now, I know I only have the anecdote of my own experience and viewpoints, but I think I have a wide range of experiences and viewpoints, seeing as I'm actually someone who's been all around the world. I mean, there's only 2 continents on this planet I haven't been to. Your average run-of-the-mill person you see day to day, particularly here in America where we live, most of these motherfuckers ain't even left their home states. So, y'all could take that what y'all want. I mean, some people will look at travels and somebody's worldly experience and dismiss it, particularly a man. But who gives a shit that you've seen the world? You just went overseas and bought whores anyway. I'm not even going to get into that. But regardless, there's value to that. And particularly there's value to somebody who's not solipsistic, not narcissistic, not... I didn't go overseas to take selfies and be one of these hoes running around foreign countries in a bikini getting shat on by Arabs. Look up Dubai toilets on the Google if you don't believe me. But all in all, I'm not here to argue with shaming tactics. I just bring them up because I understand how any and every idea is going to be slapped with a label based off of a tribe. Now, that tribe may be your gender, it might be your race. I happen to be a black man, and I happen to be a black man who wants to fight for men and black people to have better lives. Period. I'm not interested in taking down women or whites from any place that society may perceive them to be. Now, I want to state categorically that women are not viewed as the powerful ones because men are biologically bigger and stronger than them. Some may say smarter, but I don't want to get into that. With all that being said, the whole idea of fighting these people, instead of empowering who you want to advocate for, it vexes me. It vexes me that most of these pro-blacks, they're literally the alt-right in blackface. I've heard them advocate genocide. Everybody's extremely biased. Everybody has an in-group preference. And I just don't want any part of that shit. Now, as somebody who has advocated for men, spent times in the men's rights movements, signed petitions, and done what he's could from where I was at. Let me not speak in the third person, but I've done what I could from wherever I've been at when we talk about these things and look at these cases. But one thing I want to mention, I've never gone at it from an angle of before I guess you could say after I wasn't liberal. Like once I was no longer liberal, it's never been about dissing another race, dissing women as a gender. Now, do I want to see people disempowered or anything like that? No. I don't think anything needs to be taken from white people to quote unquote bring black people up in America. Honestly, I think most of the troubles within the community are from within, at least today. Sure, you're pro-blacks. Here's what they'll do. They can preach really well. They can get a preacher voice, and they can spout off all types of history and shit. But anytime you want to mention something about what's going on in your own community, where you live, every day that you see with your own eyes, they will write it off as white supremacy. It's some white man's fault. And this is from the black issues perspective particularly. I'm not willing to sit there and accept that if people are making bad decisions, harming other black people, sabotaging black businesses, being pedophiles, getting access to black children, dads, not so much. I don't think it's the biggest issue as they try to make it out to be, but, men abandoning their children. A lot of the Chads of the black community, duly named Tyrones, these are the men that are allowed to run out on their children. Your everyday, hardworking, blue-collar, lunch pail type of black man, he doesn't get to abandon his children. As a matter of fact, bitches will put, the quote-unquote beta bucks, the lunch pail, the Russell Wilson, beta bucks will be put on child support for the kids that ain't even his, biologically. And that's another issue we could talk about. As far as men's issues and racial issues amongst blacks, I think both parties, men and black people, have self-inflicted problems. Now, men's problems are self-inflicted because they've allowed women's rights to go beyond what a right is, and like advantages in essentially a legal loaded gun. Women shouldn't have that thing. Women should not be able to legally fuck a man over because of the dissolution of an interpersonal relationship. No man owes any woman anything for an interpersonal relationship. It's complete bullshit. And that works both ways. These dudes trying to rig up these female celebrities for alimony and all that bullshit. It's trash. Adults should be responsible for taking care of adults. Now, granted, this is a conspiracy theory. I think because the government is so involved in the provision of human beings, that is why that they promote industries that lead to obesity. Obesity is like a death sentence. Obesity is a guarantee you won't see your retirement age. That's why they're talking about raising it. It's 65 right now. They may raise it later than what it is, just to not pay out all the Social Security because the fucking baby boomers. But that's I'm not sitting here saying that the government is making people fat. People are deciding to eat the fuck what they eat. But the problem is, all of our food isn't good here in America. Let's just call that what it is. And people who consume more than they need, we're all bigger. I'm not big. I'm not small myself, so I'm including myself in this group. And we are marching to early graves if we don't take care of this shit. And it's better to start now. Start today. If you're out there listening and you got that issue myself. I'm going to the gym in the next 30 minutes, my damn self. But let me finish this up. I don't want to get involved in these tribalistic groups because people are so fucking biased. There are men, and I've heard them, as much as we don't want to parrot feminist talking points, I will call out the individuals. I'm all about the individual. So the individual extremist, I will condemn as much as I will, get behind and advocate for the individual man who is just getting a bad deal in a situation, who's been dealt the wrong card, if you will. Well, the individual extremist on either the black or the male side will say, if harm comes onto a woman or a white person that's innocent, they're okay with it. They're okay with extremists on their side. They will advocate for extremists on their side, and they will kind of write off anything that happens from their perspective, from their own in-group tribal preference or bias, that they will go ahead and say that that's okay because of historic this, historic that, historic this. Feminism is the same way. So you could almost say gender politics versus racial politics. I could say it happens across the board. I was going specifically off my own perspective as a man and as a black person. But there are the alt-right. I call pro-blacks the alt-right and blackface because they all talk in the same exact way. Now, I've made different episodes critical of the alt-right, but all in all, what I'm getting at is blind identity politics is stupid to me, period. I don't give a fuck if somebody's black, a male, white, Chinese, green, yellow, orange, triple gendered, cisgender. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Are you a good person? Are you a bad person? Are you going to rip me off? Can we do business? Can we be friends? Whatever gender you are is irrelevant unless it's an interpersonal romantic relationship, because I do have a preference for women. I'm a straight male. If that's not who you are, then do you. But other than that, I'm not involved. I don't give a fuck. Now, that being said, I have a podcast here that's essentially a podcast and YouTube channel that exists for men. And this isn't to right any wrongs or to diss women or to diss white people, because I've made plenty of content specifically for black men. It is to fill a void. That's my aim. That's my only goal. I want to fill a void that I feel is missing. There are not enough people out here talking about the real fucking issues. Now, sure, Fox News will talk about black on black crime in a kind of, matter of fact, this is where your problems are type of thing, a diversionary, type of way. Now, granted, it is an issue, but when we're talking about police brutality, we're not here to discuss whether or not you think black on black crime is an issue. We're talking about the state committing them. As a libertarian, this is my libertarian side, not so much pro-blacks, but from a libertarian sense, I'm very anti-police state. I'm anti a lot of these stupid victimless laws. Like, carrying some weed. Somebody wants to adjust that shit. They're doing no more or less to their body than drinking a big ass milkshake with a fuckload of sugar in it. I think they're doing less damage to their body smoking a couple of joints versus eating a bunch of chunk, because the sugar is so bad. Sugar is so bad to the human body. It's poisonous, essentially, but it tastes good. So, all in all, I'm at over 10 minutes here, and I just want to close out on this. I do have a love and respect for my particular, identities, men and blacks. But my angle to help these groups is to actually advocate for the betterment of these groups and not to use their whatever position to attack another group. I don't want to use any type of viewpoint or stance to attack whites or non-blacks. And I don't want to attack women for no reason other than the bullshit they do. I'm looking at individual instances, the family court, the police state as far as black folks go. Crime within the community. I don't call it black on black crime. It's a stupid, played out Fox News talking point. And pro-blacks are able to deflect black on black crime and pedophilia from within as white supremacy. And I don't do that. I'm saying if you are black and you want to be pro-black, stop standing up for the fucking scum. Now, my angle with this is not to purge particular groups from within my own in-group, but it is to say that I'm not going to blindly side in one way or another. I look at things on an individual basis. If we all looked at people and things on individual stances and not in-group preferences, then we could actually have a morality within our society that could stand on two sides, right and wrong, which is what I try to stand. The family court, police brutality, all of these things are wrong. But standing here advocating for the genocide of white people or rapes of women is something I'm not going to stand for. Nor will I stand for anything that may be done on two blacks or any other group of people or men. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to keep beating this drum. In-group preferences, tribal identitarianism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, pro this, pro that, pro-blacks are alt-right, all of it's fucking stupid. And I only want to stand here and take the stance of right and wrong. And then once we separate the two of those, we try to make a society better and have actual, true, objective morality. And not this bullshit that we have today where everybody's just like, well, fuck them if they're this color. Fuck them if they're that gender, men or women. White, black, green, or yellow. Let's actually try to treat each other fairly off of objective morality and not your own personal preference of your own in-group. I'm out. Oh, I guess I'm not out. P.S. I extend this to political views too, because we're living in this world where people are like, let's ban people and silence people and make sure particular opinions do not reach out into the world. Now, if conservative people want to consume conservative media, then we should have no part in the co-signing of silencing these groups or individuals. Like, why the fuck do you care? You don't even consume Alex Jones's shit. The only time I really consume Alex Jones is when he goes on Joe Rogan's show, gets high, and has a fucking debate with fucking, what's that other crazy dude's name? Eddie Bravo. That shit is entertainment to me. But for people to be like, oh, let's silence him because he supports Trump. Well, that's how the motherfucker got elected. Because all y'all want to do is silence, take away the rights of others. It's the same bullshit with race and gender. Everybody wants to take away the rights and deprive other human beings that are opposite to them the rights to fucking human basic rights. Talking, freedom of movement, freedom to their own money, freedom of expression. Everybody wants to take from other people because they're fucking selfish, solipsistic, and narcissistic, racist, and sexist. I will call out racism, but I'm not going to sit here and co-sign black people to be racist too. That is bullshit. Same thing for women and men. Both groups seem to think it's okay to be sexist towards one another. Now, realistically, the only sexism I think men are doing onto women is the body count shit. No, like I said, most sexism that women face, to me, is social. I don't think chicks are out here getting underpaid because they're a woman. As a matter of fact, the gender pay gap when women don't have kids, favors women. But that's really all I wanted to cover. That identity politics includes political opinions now, because everybody wants to silence a motherfucker for their opinion. And now I'm a libertarian. But that being said, there are a lot of people who are going to use the libertarian label to be racist. Because a lot of people would want to, all right, let's all be libertarian. Okay, we have this free libertarian society. All right, let's get rid of all the niggers. That's the first thing they would do. And those are the people I firmly stand my ground against. They are using the label in a wrong way. Free society doesn't mean racist society where you get to purge people based off race. I'm so sick of motherfuckers advocating for violence and genocide. As somebody who's been to war several times, I am never going to co-sign death and murder and destruction of human lives for no fucking reason. And I don't give a fuck if there's a black person doing it to whites, men or women doing it to the opposite gender, whatever the fuck the case may be, doing it onto a white person because, historic oppression, therefore we can do it. All the people killing farmers in South Africa, it's okay because oppression. No! Murder is wrong, period. Now I'm out.